This lesson is on factoring polynomials by grouping. So there's 3 steps that we're going to use today. So the first step is to take the polynomial and split it in half. Do is split it right here. Now notice I put the plus sign with the right because that plus sign goes with the 2x. Okay, the symbols in front belong to that term. And so now that I've split that in half, step 2 is to factor the greatest common factor out of each binomial. So I have a binomial here on the left side and a binomial on the right side. And I'm going to factor out the greatest common factor of each binomial. If there isn't a common factor, then you're just going to factor out a 1. All right, so in this first one, I can factor out an x squared. So it's going to give me x squared times x plus 7. And then I'm going to factor this other side. I have 2x plus 14. I can factor out a 2 out of it. So I'm going to factor out a 2, and it's a positive 2, so I'm going to write plus 2 there. So 2 times x plus 7. And I forgot to change color. Change the color. All right, so that's step 2. Now step 3 is to make a binomial with the 2 greatest common factors. So that's this x squared plus 2, and then pair it with the remaining binomial. So my final answer would be x squared plus 2 times x plus 7. So again, what I did is I split this in half. The left half I factored out an x squared. The right half I factored out a 2. The factors x squared and 2 I grouped together into a binomial, and then I multiplied that times the remaining binomial. And don't forget, you can check your answer using FOIL. So let's look at some more examples of this. And I'm going to split this in half right there. That wasn't very straight, but oh well. 8x squared plus 12x, I can factor out an x, and I can also factor out a 4. So I'm going to factor out 4x. Factor out 4x. Let's use 4x times 2x plus 3. The other side, I can factor out a y. So on this side, I'm going to factor out a y. Again, I'm going to write plus y because it's a positive y I'm taking out, times 2, and again, 2x plus 3. So group the 4x and the plus y together. It's your first binomial. And then what you have is the 2x plus 3. So let's go ahead and FOIL this to just check this. So FOIL, you multiply the first term, so you multiply 4x and 2x, that gives you 8x squared. Outside, so I'm going to do 4x times 3, so that's plus 12x. Inside, 2 times, or y times 2x, so that gives me plus 2xy. And then last, my screen just froze. Hold on. So last, I'm going to multiply y times 3. So that gives me plus 3y. Let's see. So we have 8x squared plus 12x plus 2xy plus 3y. No like terms, and that's where we started. So we know that our answer was correct. So correct answer was 4x plus y times 2x plus 3. And let's look at another example. So same thing, we're going to start by splitting this. So I'm going to split it in half. The plus sign goes with the 2x. On the left side, I can factor out an x cubed. So I'm going to factor out x cubed this time. So times x plus 4. other side, what can I factor out here? How about a 2? I have plus 2. Leaves me with x plus 4. Group the x cubed and the plus 2 together. X cubed plus 2 times x plus 4. Again, if you want to FOIL that and check it, you should end up back where you started. All right, I got 2 more examples for you. So here's example 3. We're going to split it. This time we have a minus sign here. Make sure that goes with the 7y squared. So on the left side, I can factor out an x squared. Factor out x squared. I have x squared times y plus 3. On the right side, let's factor out a negative 7y. Because if I factor out a negative 7y, then that's going to change these to plus signs, which is always better to deal with than minus signs in here. So I'm going to factor out negative 7y. Do that. I'm left with y plus 3. So this became a positive and this became a plus because I factored out a negative number. And so that left me with positive numbers in here. And so now together, we have x squared minus 7y, y plus 3. That's your answer. And again, if this was a test, I would tell you should FOIL it to make sure that you got the correct answer. And all right, one last one. Split this right here. So on the left side, I have 2x squared y plus 6xy. So I can factor out the 2xy. So factor out 2xy. That leaves me with x plus 3. The other side, there are no common factors here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to factor out a negative 1. So similar to factoring out the negative 7 here, I'm going to factor out a negative 1. So that'll change these to plus signs in here. All right, so we're going to factor out a negative 1. So if you don't have a common factor, you can always factor out a 1. So negative 1 times x plus 3. Put it all in 2xy minus 1 times x plus 3. And there you go. So if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Until next time.